creator tokens will really evolve more into like the fan token model or a community token where there is, some sort of broader interest or broader management of it so that it's not all in a creator. It's not like entirely theirs as like the issuer and like designer of said asset. So I think that like really like all forms of like content creators, I think can benefit from the potential of fungible assets, like to incentivize and reward engagement, to be able to like give value back to those people who have been most loyal or most engaged or created the most value for them. And it may be the case that in some instances they're like effectively borrowing an existing fungible token instead of minting their own, like in their own name. But I think that like podcasting is definitely like a segment that we think is really interesting, largely because of just the dynamics in that segment where today, like because most of podcasting outside of Spotify is using RSS, like you don't really get much data at all about who is, listening, who's consuming. I think podcasts also tend to be like, very interest based. Like, most podcast shows are going to have like a very specific focus or topic. And so I think like naturally, then you're going to aggregate a bunch of people who care about that thing or care about that topic. And so I think podcasters being able to, for example, start to understand who are their super fans through earning mechanics, be able to build communities where right now it's very much like, you upload and publish to an RSS feed. People then consume like on any number of platforms and it's just sort of like it's out in the void once you like publish an episode. I think like having there be, a tokenized community around that episode where like fans are able to engage with one another. Maybe they're able to like, unlock exclusive, like, extra content or behind the scenes content, or maybe they get earlier access. I think like all of those ideas are really, really interesting and compelling, especially just given how under monetized podcasting is as a segment. And then the other one I would call out is like live streamers. I think the idea of a social token is not foreign at all to any live streamer because, every live streamer is going to be using Twitch. Twitch has all sorts of like fungible and non-fungible kind of currencies in their ecosystem, except that they're all just like closed ecosystem. And so I think being able to turn those into real on-chain assets like has a ton of value for live streamers. And so I think like the live format, like having everyone be there synchronously is a really interesting format to enable all kinds of like social dynamics. Like you see, in Twitch chats, you'll see people gifting subs and tipping and like, buying emotes. And it's not a huge stretch to imagine those things being fungible and non-fungible assets on chain instead of something that's in a closed ecosystem. So those are two segments that I think we're especially interested in outside of music. Gaming's another one that's obvious, not a focus for us, but we think that really like there are a lot of segments for whom this is not a stretch when the UX improves. But obviously today there's a million hoops you have to jump through and gas fees are prohibitively expensive. And so, it's not trivial to get involved today, but we do think as like the tooling gets built out, as the applications kind of reach maturity, that there are segments for whom this makes like obvious sense and really is a no-brainer.